flood warnings in Sonoma County. Thanks.
Let's see, how to get people to show up, turn that on. All right, well, nothing popped up. Yeah, it doesn't look too bad out there right now. It's a little rainy.
Not at the moment.
Not at the moment.
It's gonna be crazy tonight.
I tell you, it is cold though. I've had my heater, I've had the door closed, and I've had the heater cranked up the whole day. I came into the office, it was 48 degrees here in the morning. Brr is right. It's muy cold, muy cold.
I feel like we started really early.
The night at the Roxbury.
Right.
Well, you know, some people do this for like 10 minutes, 15 minutes before the show. Yeah, kind of like really let people know, hey, come check out the show.
We're going live.
We're going live. I was trying to post something on the Facebook.
Okay, they popped up.
Yeah, no, I was just gonna post a little comment underneath.
Oh, okay.
But I'm not able to do that in on the live stream
Oh, okay. Let me see if I can do it.
screen that I'm in. I'll be curious if you're able to leave a comment what it if it actually shows in the social. Like I said, I have no idea if I've got it set up correctly or not.
That's the old one. Posted a comment.
I'd be a totally cool DJ.
Sure you would.
I would. All right, here we go. I should probably find my faders if I'm going to bring this music down. Our corporate upbeat music that we have.
Corporate, yes.
It's
yeah.
corporate. It's very corporate-y, but it is upbeat, though. I will give it that.
It is very upbeat.
Very upbeat.
Yes. are we?
Let's talk about what's going on. It's raining, and you were saying you got weather report?
Yeah, flash flood warnings for Sonoma County. So that's kind of crazy tonight. Yikes.
Yeah, it is. It's hard to tell, but you can probably tell it's a little gray out there. I don't know which side to go to, and it's a little wet. But it hasn't been too bad. It's just been really cold today. We were talking earlier, just like I walked into the office this morning. It was 48 degrees. And normally I just turn my little heater on here, you know, in my office. I don't do all three rooms. And I was like, nope. I'm going to turn the main heater on and turn this heater on. And this little guy's been running all day full blast. And
I was wearing a scarf for most of the day until just recently. I finally warmed up. So
yeah. And I'm like, I've got my vest is pretty much zipped up all the way.
It's so tough to live in California.
It's horrible. But we're supposed to get some snow in the Sierras, and because some things have been lifted, hopefully we can, those that like to partake in snow activities will be able to go out and do that. We're going to talk about some different stuff today. We also are testing out the social plugin, which for those of you that are watching, if you leave a comment while it's live, I just need to see if it's actually connecting to the social comment. That way I can actually pop up a little screen here. And ideally somebody's face would pop up in the little gray box. There would be an actual message. Their name would integrate. It's the first time that I've actually used it, so this is one of the reasons why we do these shows. Yeah, we get to test stuff out. But besides testing, we're going to talk about virtual events. And
we are.
And we're going to
talk about how to motivate people to actually go to your virtual event and want to go there and stay there. So
and it does take a little bit of effort, but we'll give you a minute to digest that while we do this. All right. So virtual events. I mean, back in the day when everybody showed up, it was kind of like, you know, networking. And I think once an event kind of had a name for itself, there were certain events that it was like, okay, I have got to go to this event, not only because it's all you can eat crab, but I know so-and-so is going to be there, so-and-so is going to be there, so-and-so is going to be there. And virtual's really changed a lot. And we've talked about this in past shows quite a bit, but we want to kind of talk about the event itself and how to get people there. So I'm going to kind of let you lead more on this one, because this is more your wheelhouse. And then I'm going to try and figure out the technical, if I can get this VMix social. if you see me doing this today, it's only because I'm
That's
looking
sweet.
at other monitors that are here in the
Okay.
office.
I won't take offense
All
that
right, I
you're not
appreciate
paying
that.
attention to what I'm saying, but that's okay. So all of these things, trying to get people to come to your events, that's all part of your marketing. And one of the key things is to be having great speakers or great entertainment. So booking something that people are going to be interested in coming to see, so you can really push that out. In addition to that, when you're selecting your speakers or your entertainment, usually those people have a fairly large community of their own and their own followers and fans. Those are great people to have for your events because they're now going to push it out to their community. So you're getting even more exposure. As we know, the more people see it, the more times they see it over and over again, the more likely they are to say, you know what, I am going to go sign up for that event. So signing up for event, definitely got to have good entertainment and good speakers. There could be also some other incentives for signing up for an event, such as, hey, we're going to do some prizes. So if you sign up, you show up, you could win a raffle or a door prize or something special. So a little more incentive to make it worth your time. With that said, a lot of people doing some free events, which are, a lot of times the nonprofits where they're trying to raise money
Hmm.
for their cause, and so many of these virtual events are free. We are currently putting on an event. It's the Galentine's Girl Therapy Virtual Expo. So it's
Expo,
more of
read
an
all about
expo.
it.
So it's a little bit different. And so what we are doing is we are charging a fee for people to come and be a part of the event. And that's for several reasons. Number one, a little skin in the game. Yeah, a nominal fee. We're doing it $20, but we're giving everybody the 50% off discount code. So you're really getting in for $10 to this event. And just that little skin in the game is one thing that people say, well, I signed up for it. And if it was free, a lot of times it's like, well, it was just free. I didn't pay anything. If something comes up, I can move on and it's no big deal and I don't have to go.
Hmm.
But if I feel like, well, I did spend a little bit of money on that. So there has to have that value, that feeling of value for that event. So that's kind of what we did with this upcoming event. We're also taking those proceeds and we are donating them to charity as well. So kind of like makes you feel really good to say, okay, I'm going to spend the $10. That's going to incent me to go a little bit more. But even if I don't, I feel good about paying that because I know it's going to go to a good cause. So
Yeah,
those
and
are
I
some
think
things. Yeah.
I was going to say, based on demographics, right? That can be really important because as you get into millennials, and I forget who's after millennials now,
Yeah.
you
What are
know,
they?
that, but having a cause where you're not just a corporation or you're not just an
Yes.
organization that's about making money, but you're also
Right.
supporting. So you think of, I forget who the shoe guy is, for every pair of shoes you buy,
Oh,
he
right.
gives
Yeah.
he gives a pair of shoes away, and there's all kinds of examples out there. So also just kind of understanding your audience, what will they
Mhm.
appreciate, and
Yeah,
what would
absolutely.
they like to have. And you were talking earlier, we were talking offline, how some people, in order to like a swag bag or something, where if you show up to the event, it's not that you just show up, but you actually have to email the host with whatever the secret code is to get the swag bag.
Yes.
So that might be halfway through the event before the host says, "Hey, for those of you that came for the swag bag."
Yeah.
Um,
It used to be you go in to a live event, you go in, you grab your swag bag, you look around. If you're not feeling it, you leave, and you're like,
right.
okay. Well, that's not what we want. We want you to come to the event and experience all of the things that are going on there. Like I said, we're doing this expo that isn't an air meet, which we've talked about before, a little
Hmm.
bit different than just a Zoom, but it does give a little bit of incentive to, hey, stick around a little bit. And then we're going to give you that secret code so that you can, email us or go to a landing page or whatever that is to redeem and get that virtual swag bag. So you're not actually getting a bag, you're getting a virtual something with some great links.
Right.
Those are other incentives from your participants. A lot of our vendors are offering some type of a special discount to say, hey, if you come and then in that swag bag, you're going to get a free XYZ, or you're going to
Mm-hmm.
get a 50% off, or whatever that is. That's another incentive to say, you know what, I'm getting a lot out of attending this event. Why would I
Right.
not go? So you
And
want
it's
to like,
great.
yeah,
Yeah, and it's great because as the organization putting on the event, it's not money out of your pocket, as an
that's
example.
right.
It's a way of promoting those who are going to be sponsors for the event. It's a way of getting their products in other people's hands, especially in this day and time. And so I'm curious. I really see this as a two-part question, because the first part with this show is, one, how do you get people to actually come to the event? And I think
Yes.
one of the big differences is the marketing efforts.
Oh yeah,
So you have
absolutely.
to put some pre-planning into an online event, especially if it's the first annual, even though
Yes.
it's been going on for 50 years or 20 years in IRL, in real life.
Right.
When you're doing it for the first time, people could be a little, hesitant. So I think, for me, I always go back to who's your speakers, who are your guests.
Yeah,
And if you
exactly.
can pull in a name that's relevant to your audience, there's going to be more of a incline to come,
Sure.
because who's
Absolutely.
present. And I think,
Yeah.
one of the great things that I think you did with the Galentines is it's not just a speaker. We have multiple speakers,
Multiple.
and
Yes.
understanding how can you leverage their
Mhm.
audience. So what were some of the things that you did with the Galentines event in order to leverage the audience that
Yeah.
your speakers have?
So basically, for all of the people who were participating in our Galentine's event, I provided them with an entire press kit. So all of the pre-done tweets and social posts and all of that, and then each person who is a part of it got their own customized social image that has their picture on it and their name and their business and what they're talking about. For them to push it out, they're going to be more likely to push it out. It's already got their name on it, it's got their picture on it. The other thing that we've been having some fun with is we're doing some video interviews with some of the participants. So we're using that as our pre-marketing to push that out, to show people these are the amazing women who are going to be at this event, and you're going to keep seeing it over and over again. I keep seeing this event, and
All
that's,
right.
I mean, it seems to be like sometimes I get like where I'm like, oh, I don't want to post it again because people are going to be like, I'm over it. You like, you're oversharing. But with
Right.
something like this, you really do want to try to get it into as many channels as you can, ask people to share it. And then once again, as people start signing up, and then it's like, now they're sharing it with their friends. Oh, well, oh, did you know? Well, so and so's going to this.
Right.
And then we start getting that, sharing, and oh, well, if they're going, well, then I'm gonna go.
Sure.
So
And let's
so
talk a
yeah.
little bit about those video interviews, because it's not just one, it's not a random video. It's not like, oh, let's just get on Zoom and I'll record something and then I'll trim the front and the back and we'll throw it up. But let's talk a little bit about the branding that went into that. And then also if you can
Mhm.
kind of speak to what the intent is. So there were some specifics to, okay, how can we use this as a marketing tool? So what were some of the things,
Mhm.
questions that you asked in order to perk people's interest so they'd want to go to the event?
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, number one, from a branding standpoint, we did use vmix, which is what we're using today to do our show. So we were able to fully brand the entire thing with our colors, with the name of the event, the URL right there, just ready to go, so that everybody can see it when it is. So that was all of the branding. And then I was able to, a lot of these ladies, I have either, I've spoken to many of them several times about what they do, but letting people know what they can expect when they go to the event. What can they expect to learn? And then, of course, a few other little small things, asking some personal questions of those speakers and those people so that you have an idea of who these women are. And you'll feel like, oh, I really want to connect with that person because you're learning something personal about them. That, I think, is the biggest thing, and Ryan and I mean, you and I've talked about this, where, everybody's looking for more connection.
Hmm.
Where can we find the connection, and who are the people that we want to connect with? Where you're finding more of your tribe. You hear people talking about that, and that's, I think, becoming even more important now, with everything that we're doing virtually. Where's your tribe? You have limited time to spend. Who are you going to spend it with, and where are you going to find those people that you really resonate with? So that's why we're excited about this, the virtual expo, the Girl Therapy, to connect the ladies and also give you the opportunity ahead of time to say, wow, there's going to be some amazing women there. I want to meet them. I'm giving
Right.
just a little bit. I give them just a little bit, and then they go, oh, yeah, that person sounds really interesting. I want to hear more of what they have to say. So
Right.
they've been really fun.
Yeah, well, yes, and we use vMix as a platform for the actual interview. So we had the overlay. So I got to host and meet these gals
Yes.
as producing the show, if you will, or the recording, I should say. So lots of energy, great information that's going to be had. I'm also wanted to kind of go back as far as one of the things that you talked about is the social aspect. And so just
Hmm.
kind of talking about there's been the Zoom, so I think everybody kind of defaulted to Zoom initially, right? It's like, okay, what's
Yes.
the best way to speak? We all know the issues with Zoom. It feels like another meeting. It feels like this. It feels
Right.
like that. It's just not that exciting. There's branding issues. How do you control the audience as far as who pops
Yes.
up, audio, all of this? But we've also gotten feedback from clients that we've worked with that, we really enjoy what we've done. However,
Yes.
it was missing a major component, and that's the engagement.
That's the
And
engagement.
and
Yes.
and so that's kind of, I think, the next step is that, okay, well, once you get people there, besides a swag bag or obviously if you plan who's going to speak and when, space it out so you keep
Hmm.
people hold their attention throughout the event. The engagement part, I think, is really going to be what's going to separate good events that have good speakers from great events where people can actually socialize.
Like, socialize and be a part of what's going on. So Zoom is great. It is still very, pretty static. You can have a little bit of the chat engagement, which is great. The we've mentioned before, the platform we're using, AirMeet. So we're able to give choice to the attendee, the guest who comes to want to watch the speakers and then go into some chat rooms and meet some new people, and then go meet all of those cool vendors that are in our exhibit hall that we've been doing all these videos with, that have so much
Hmm.
to offer. And so there's really a lot of opportunities to engage, and then also to be able to engage with the speaker at the same time, asking questions and things like that. So and then you and I, we've been doing some other stuff too besides AirMeet, incorporating a little bit of Zoom into
Hmm.
the vmix, where certain people want this, the vmix where you can have the branding, you can have all of that, make it look really nice, but still looking for that somehow to engage with a video capability. And so we've been
All right.
incorporating a lot more of that, which people have been asking for. I
Right.
think that's a key component.
Yeah, and the reason why, just if people are wondering, is that everybody knows Zoom at this point. So if you have an audience that maybe isn't too technical, or you don't want them to wander, because if you think of a conference hall where people can actually go into the main hall, where the speakers are, or they can wander off, get some food somewhere.
Right.
AirMeet is designed to replicate that, where people can literally move around. And so if they don't
Yes.
want to watch who's ever speaking, but they want to go and chat and socialize with somebody at a table, they can do that. For some
Yes.
events, that's not the best platform to use
Right.
because you don't want that freedom, especially if you're doing like continued education, as an example.
Right.
You might want to wrangle people a little bit more. And so I think the kind of mixing up the vMix where you get the branding and you get the customization with that Zoom integration, like you talked about, it's a nice hybrid event where you can still push content, but then you can bring in vMix, and now we can have two-way dialogue with the actual
Right.
end users.
Yeah, no, I think we're always coming up with different solutions for what people need. And it seems like the need right now is, I want to do the branding, I want it to be professional, but I really want some engagement. And so
Right.
that's what we've been trying to provide to our clients, anybody who's looking to do an event like that. What can we
Yeah.
do? And you're so great at finding all these other solutions where it's like, oh, I found this, we can do this. Okay, great, let's do that.
Right. And it's based out of my own, like, I'm like, okay, these are great events from a production point of view. However, they're really lacking the engagement. And so that's, to
Yes.
me, I think that's key. And I'm not a big social butterfly like you are. And I'm also going, all right, look, folks, we need
We need
some
engagement.
engagement here. We need something, because this is very one dimensional, one
Yes.
directional. So I think moving forward into 2021, if you don't have a way of getting the audience to engage, less and less people are going to be willing to show up to virtual events unless you really do have a big name, or
Yes.
it's educational, right? So if I
Right.
need or I want to be educated, then I
Sure.
need to go to this, even if it's boring. Because
Right.
let's face it, we've seen some really boring events
Oh,
on
yes, we
Zoom.
have. Yes, we have. Many of us have seen those. And speaking of that, a lot of times with our events, we talk about the run of the show and having kind of a flow where you're going from one thing to another. And really taking that flow like this. So people are not quite sure what's going to come next. There's a little highs, there's a little lows. I think it's super important to have high energy, whoever you've got, doing your hosting or as some of your speakers, having that real high positive energy to keep people going, and then maybe adding in some of those other elements, the recorded videos and the heartstrings type videos that really kind of take you on that roller coaster, instead of always having just a static person speaking for an hour. Can be, it's like, well, I'm sure it's great information, but sometimes it's good to bring in other people.
Right.
We go from two to one, so that's a little bit of a difference too. It's not just static, there's
Hmm.
something going on, and having some of that flow, I think that is really important for any event,
Yes.
whether it's something like AirMeet, or doing something like this on a vmix platform like you're seeing now. So
Yeah, and one event comes to mind where we started at 8 a.m. in the morning. That's when the actual live section of the event started. Some of the initial speakers had wonderful information. However, they were not really energetic, I guess is the best
yes.
way of putting it. And so also kind of understanding who are your speakers, and then is your audience going to be awake? Do they need a little rah-rah in the morning to get them
Right.
going? One, a good host will do that, but if a host is turning it
Hmm.
over to the speaker, also consider who your speaker is. And so
Absolutely.
if you have somebody who's maybe not as strong, maybe kind of sandwiching them between a couple of stronger players. That
Right.
way you get the influx of people that are like, oh, I want to see so and so. I'll hang out, and then oh, yay, so and so's here. So um,
Yes.
thinking about that run of the show, like Sue was talking about, is really important because there are going to be ups and downs, and when it's
Hmm.
designed correctly, you're going to hold people's attention much longer.
Absolutely. And that's the whole goal. I mean, you've gone to the trouble to create an event with all kinds of great content and everything, and some interaction. You want people to hang out, give them reasons to hang out.
All right.
Doing some contests or polls throughout things where you know they have to. You almost could do a scavenger hunt in AirMeet, in some ways.
Ah,
That could
I
be
never thought
that
about
could
that.
be a I just thought of
It
that.
could be
Like that
fun.
would actually be kind of fun, throughout the event, to go and find these little markers that are going to get you
Wonder if
to unlock the treasure.
we could do that like for Easter, maybe. I wonder if we could do like a virtual Easter egg
That would be
thing.
fun. Ooh, I like.
Hmm.
Oh, see,
We better
I
better
love
write
the brainstorming.
you better write that down.
Write it down. We'll forget. Yay, clapping.
Yay for brainstorming.
Yay,
Before I forget, Lawrence, aka also or always
Elvis.
Elvis,
Always
is in
Elvis.
the house on Facebook.
Yes,
Unfortunately, the social integration part is not
it's not
integrating.
working.
So I'm
Dang it.
missing a piece, but we'll get it figured out sooner
We'll
or
figure
later.
it out. We'll
Yes.
do it next week for sure. For sure. Yeah,
Sure.
so
You put a lot of
for
pressure on me there,
sure.
Sue. But
Yes, of
yeah,
course. Well, you know what? You're gonna have to
fix
try
it.
it again. I know you can. I know you
I,
can.
I can
Uh,
do it. I can do it.
and now we talked about doing some of the videos too as promotional, and I think that goes
Hmm.
for nonprofits as well. You know, a lot of times people want to save all their stuff for the event, but I think having just very small snippets, even of the clients that maybe the nonprofit serves, and those heartstrings stories in a short format, to put those out there to get people more motivated and have more awareness about your organization.
Hmm.
A lot of times the nonprofits, it's usually the same people coming to those nonprofits every single time. You know, you've got your regular fans, your regular donors, but now's the time to really reach out to see about finding new people who have an interest in your nonprofit.
Right.
And then, of course, you always can use Facebook, doing boosted posts or Facebook ads, and using their demographics tool to find the right people. And when you're getting them, when you're getting them emotional, that's going to work every time. I mean,
Right.
people like that feeling, and they're gonna have more reason to respond. So I think using those types of things as your pre-marketing is a really good idea.
Well, that reminds me, and I don't know, forget if it was the 80s or the 90s, but there was always the Feed the Hungry,
Oh yeah.
and it was always kids. They always had the
Yes.
kids, and they were very thin, and they were talking about how they go, and just for $1 a day, you can
Yes,
feed
exactly.
20 families. And it was very emotional in the way
Yeah.
they put and it was very well done. And I'll
Mhm.
bet you they raised a lot of money to feed the
Yes,
kids. So pulling
absolutely.
on the heartstrings is very important. And again, I think all of this, everything that we talk about, always goes back to understanding your audience and
Yes.
why are they going to be interested in joining your event?
Yes,
And
absolutely.
just
And yeah, letting
really,
them know.
yeah,
Yeah.
and just it's that simple. It's
Yep.
literally that simple. I mean, like Galentine's, part of this is like, we just need the social. You just need to come. Let's socialize. Bring your girlfriends together. Have a glass of
Yes.
wine.
Right?
Join a chat table where there's video chat so we can actually engage and talk to people and
Yes.
have a good time. That's a very clear, simple message beyond all the great speakers that are going to be there and the different people in the booths. But
Exactly.
there's a need in that segment, that audience segment. And so that's what you should be
Well,
promoting, folks.
that's where we came from too. I mean, I was like, oh man, girl therapy. I've got my girls that I normally, meet up with regularly, and we just haven't been able to do that during the
Right.
pandemic, maybe occasionally, and maybe one or two of us. I mean, it's been really not the same. I'm like, man, I need my girl therapy. Like, I want to
Yeah.
get these girls together. And then, of course, I want to be able to invite other people. Well, I can't
Hmm.
really do that right now. So here's how we're going to do it. We're just going to go online and be able to connect that way. So I'm really excited about that.
All right. Yes, as am I. I think it's going to be a great event. I don't have all my notes up. Was there anything
Oh,
else that we needed to cover?
no, I think we talked about a lot of this stuff. We talked about the engagement and having the quality speakers, using some video, some discounts, prizes, all of that kind of stuff. I think those are all really great tools to get people motivated to sign up for your event and then show up for your event.
Right.
So, and if you guys have other ideas or things that have worked for you, if you've done an event, we'd love to hear about it in the comments. Please let us know. We want to continue to help everybody out with these virtual events so that we are all successful with our virtual events as we move forward.
Yeah, definitely, definitely.
Yep.
All right,
That's
that's
all I
it
have.
then. All right, perfect. That's all I got.
Okay,
I
great.
guess until next week then, which is going to be
Yes.
Tuesday, I understand, at 4 o'clock Pacific time. We'll see
Yes.
everybody then.
Yes. We'll see you then. Have a great week.
All right, take care, everybody. Till next week.
Bye.